I know this sounds impossible, but I think I died and woke up in someone else's life. 1 minute, I'm sprinting across a rain-slicked Manhattan street, my sneakers skidding as I dodge a cab that's definitely not stopping, and the next nothing. Blackness. A screech of tires, a jolt of pain so sharp it feels like my bones are shattering into stardust, and then silence. I thought that was it. The end of Evelyn Harper, 29, marketing assistant, perpetually late, perpetually underpaid, perpetually invisible. But now, I'm blinking against soft morning light filtering through silk curtains, my body cocooned in sheets that feel like they cost more than my entire apartment. This isn't my bed. My bed is a creaky twin with a lumpy mattress and a comforter I've had since college. This bed is a continent, wide and plush, with pillows that smell faintly of lavender. My heart thumps, loud and unfamiliar, as I sit up and catch my reflection in a gilded mirror across the room. The face staring back isn't mine. It's sharper, all high cheekbones and full lips, with dark hair cascading over one shoulder like some Renaissance painting. I touch my cheek, and the reflection mimics me, but the skin is smoother than mine ever was, the nails manicured to perfection. I'm not Evelyn anymore. I'm someone else. Panic claws at my chest, but I force myself to breathe, to think. The room is a study in luxury. A crystal chandelier glints above, a sleek dresser holds a vase of fresh peonies, and a walk-in closet the size of my old studio apartment yawns open to my right. I swing my legs out of bed, my feet sinking into a rug so soft it feels like walking on clouds. A silk robe hangs on a hook, and I slip it on, the fabric cool against my skin. There's a phone on the nightstand, sleek and expensive, and I grab it, hoping for answers. The lock screen shows a photo of this stranger's face, my face now, smiling beside a woman whose sharp features and piercing blue eyes make my stomach lurch. Cassandra Vanderbilt. My boss. The CEO of Vanderbilt and Company, the marketing firm where I've spent the last 3 years fetching coffee, formatting presentations, and dodging her icy glares. She's in a tailored blazer in the photo, her arm around this woman, me, with a smile that's more guarded than warm. My thumb hovers over the screen, and a notification pops up. Dinner with the Montgomerys, 7 p.m. Don't be late, Lila. Lila. The name hits me like a brick. Lila Montgomery, Cassandra's wife. I've heard the office gossip. Lila's a socialite, all glamour and no substance, married to Cass for reasons no one quite understands. They're the power couple everyone whispers about, their marriage a glossy facade that hides something colder. And now, somehow, I'm her. I'm Lila Montgomery, waking up in her bed, in her life, with her wife. My legs wobble, and I sink onto the edge of the bed, clutching the phone like it's a lifeline. How did this happen? Was it the accident? Did I swap bodies? Die and get reborn? The questions swirl, each one more absurd than the last, but I can't dwell on them because the bedroom door swings open, and there she is. Cass. She's in a black silk pajama set, her blonde hair pulled into a loose bun, and she's holding a steaming mug of coffee. Her eyes, those piercing blue eyes, lock onto mine, and for a moment, I forget how to breathe. You're up, she says, her voice low and smooth, like whiskey over ice. I thought you'd sleep through the morning again. There's a bite to her words, a familiar edge I've heard in boardrooms when she's dressing down a junior exec, but there's something else too, something softer, almost hesitant. I open my mouth to respond, but my voice catches. What do I say? I'm not Lila. I'm Evelyn, the assistant you barely notice, the one who spills coffee on her desk and apologizes too much. But I can't say that. Not when she's looking at me like she expects me to be someone else. I couldn't sleep. I manage, my voice higher than I expect, laced with Lila's polished cadence. Cass raises an eyebrow, leaning against the doorframe. That's new. You usually need a crane to get out of bed before noon. She steps closer, and I catch the scent of her coffee, rich and dark, mingling with something floral, her perfume, maybe. Are you feeling okay? You look different. My pulse races. Different how? Can she tell? Does she know I'm not her wife? I force a smile, hoping it looks natural. Just a rough night, I say, standing and smoothing the robe over my hips. I'll be fine. She studies me for a moment, her gaze sharp enough to cut glass, then nods. Good. We can't afford you falling apart tonight. Your parents will have my head if we're late. She turns to leave, but pauses, glancing back. And Lila? Try to smile tonight. For me. The door clicks shut behind her, and I'm alone again, my heart pounding so hard I'm sure it'll burst. Lila. Cass. Dinner with parents I don't know. A life I don't understand. I stumble to the mirror, staring into eyes that aren't mine, searching for some trace of Evelyn. But all I see is Lila, and all I feel is the weight of a life I never asked for, and the strange, undeniable pull of the woman who just walked out the door. The mirror holds no answers, just Lila's flawless face staring back at me, her dark eyes wide with a panic that feels entirely my own. I grip the edge of the dresser, my knuckles whitening against the polished wood, and force myself to breathe. In, out. In, out. The rhythm is the only thing grounding me in this body that isn't mine, in this life that belongs to someone else. Cass's words echo in my head, try to smile tonight. For me. And they stir something I can't quite name, a flutter that's equal parts fear and fascination. I've spent years watching her from the sidelines, a nobody in her corporate empire, and now I'm her wife. Her wife. The word feels like a foreign language on my tongue. I need to move, to do something other than spiral into questions I can't answer. The phone in my hand buzzes again, another reminder about the dinner with the Montgomerys. I swipe it open, praying for a clue about who Lila is, who I am supposed to be. The home screen is a labyrinth of apps, social media, calendars, a fitness tracker that's probably never been used. I tap the calendar, and a schedule unfolds, meticulous and overwhelming. Charity galas, board meetings, a hair appointment at a salon with a name I can't pronounce. This is Lila's life, a whirlwind of obligations I'm supposed to navigate without tripping over my own feet. A notification pings. Text from Cass. My heart skips and I open it. Wear the navy dress. It's your mother's favorite. The message is curt, practical, but there's a weight to it, like she's trying to anchor me to this evening's performance. I glance at the closet, its doors still open, revealing rows of designer clothes that look like they belong in a magazine. The navy dress is easy to find. It's hanging front and center, a sleeveless, floor-length gown with a neckline that plunges, just enough to make my stomach flip. I can't imagine Evelyn Harper, in her thrift store blouses and scuffed flats, pulling this off. But Lila? Lila was born for this. I'm halfway through slipping the dress on when I hear footsteps again, lighter this time, followed by a soft knock. Lila? Cass's voice is softer now, less guarded. Can I come in? Yeah, I call, my voice catching as I fumble with the zipper. The door opens, and she steps inside, now dressed in a tailored black suit that hugs her frame like it was made for her, which, knowing Cass, it probably was. Her blonde hair is down now, falling in waves that catch the light, and for a moment, I forget I'm supposed to be Lila. I'm just Evelyn, staring at the woman who's intimidated and captivated me for years. She stops, her eyes sweeping over me, and I swear there's a flicker of something, surprise, maybe, or appreciation. You look, she trails off, tilting her head. Good. Really good. Thanks, I say, smoothing the dress over my hips, hyper-aware of her gaze. You, look good too. The words feel inadequate, like trying to describe a thunderstorm as wet. Cass is a force, all sharp edges and quiet intensity, and standing this close to her, I feel like I'm caught in her orbit. She steps closer, holding a small velvet box. You forgot these. She opens it to reveal a pair of diamond stud earrings, simple but dazzling. Before I can react, she's reaching out, her fingers brushing my earlobe as she slips one earring in. Her touch is warm, deliberate, and I freeze, my breath hitching. Hold still, she murmurs, her voice low, and I'm not sure if it's the proximity or the fact that I'm wearing her wife's body, but my skin feels like it's on fire. There, she says, stepping back to admire her work. Now you're ready to face the firing squad. Her lips quirk, not quite a smile, but close enough to make my chest ache. The Montgomerys? I ask, hoping my tone sounds casual, like I know exactly what I'm walking into. Cass snorts, a sound so uncharacteristically soft it catches me off guard. Your parents, Lila. Don't play dumb. She turns toward the door, gesturing for me to follow. Come on. The car's waiting. The car, as it turns out, is a sleek black SUV with a driver who nods deferentially as we slide into the back seat. The city blurs past neon signs, honking cabs, the pulse of New York that I used to love as Evelyn, back when I was just another face in the crowd. Now, I'm Lila Montgomery, sitting beside a woman who could buy half this city if she wanted to, and I'm terrified I'll say the wrong thing and shatter the illusion. Cass is quiet, scrolling through her phone, but her knee brushes mine, and the contact sends a jolt through me. I steal a glance at her, at the way her jaw tightens as she reads whatever's on her screen. Work, probably. It's always work with her. I remember the late nights at the office, watching her pore over spreadsheets while I refilled her coffee, invisible but always watching. Now, I'm not invisible and the weight of her presence is overwhelming. So, I say, desperate to fill the silence, what's the deal with my parents? Are they intense? It's a risk, fishing for information, but I need something to hold onto before I walk into this dinner blind. Cass looks up, her brow furrowing. Since when do you care about their intensity? You usually just drink through it. She sets her phone down, studying me again, and I curse myself for slipping. What's going on with you today? You're acting off. I laugh, hoping it sounds natural. Just nervous, I guess. It's been a while since we've done this. It's a vague enough excuse, and she seems to buy it, though her eyes linger on me a moment too long. They'll be their usual selves, she says finally, leaning back in her seat. Your mother will critique your posture, your father will grill me about the company, and we'll both smile and pretend it's fine. Same as always. There's a bitterness in her tone, a crack in her armor, and I wonder what history lies between Lila and Cass, what battles they've fought that I'm now inheriting. The restaurant is a glittering affair, all chandeliers and white tablecloths, the kind of place where the menu doesn't list prices. The Montgomerys are already seated when we arrive, and the sight of them makes my stomach drop. Lila's mother, Eleanor, is a vision of old money elegance, her silver hair swept into an updo, her eyes sharp as they scan me. Her father, Richard, is broad-shouldered, with a stern face that softens slightly when he sees me, or rather, Lila. They stand to greet us, and I brace myself, stepping into the role of a woman I barely understand. Lila, darling, Eleanor says, air-kissing my cheeks. You're looking vibrant. The word feels like a test, and I smile, hoping it passes. Thanks, Mother, I say, the word foreign but steady. Cass's hand brushes my lower back, guiding me to my seat, and the touch grounds me, a reminder that I'm not alone in this. Dinner is a minefield. Eleanor comments on my posture. Cass was right. Richard asks pointed questions about Vanderbilt and Company's latest campaign, and I nod along, letting Cass take the lead while I try to mimic Lila's polished demeanor. But as the night wears on, I notice the way Eleanor's eyes flicker to Cass, the subtle disapproval in her tightened lips. There's history here, a tension I don't fully grasp, and it makes me want to reach for Cass's hand under the table, to tell her I'm on her side, even if I'm not sure what side that is. By the time dessert arrives, I'm exhausted, my head spinning with the effort of being Lila. Cass, though, seems unfazed, her answers sharp and her smile unwavering, even as Richard's questions grow more aggressive. You're taking risks with that new campaign, he says, swirling his wine. Bold moves don't always pay off, Cassandra. They do and I'm the one making them, Cass replies, her voice cool but firm. I glance at her, and for the first time, I see the weight she carries, the pressure of being Cassandra Vanderbilt, the woman who can't afford to fail. And in that moment, I want to know her, not as my boss, but as the woman sitting beside me, the one who asked me to smile for her. As we leave the restaurant, the cool night air hits my skin, and I feel like I can breathe again. Cass is quiet, her hands in her pockets, and I want to say something, anything, to bridge the gap between us. You handled that well, I say, glancing at her. A lot. She laughs, a short, sharp sound. You have no idea. She looks at me then, really looks, and there's that flicker again, like she's seeing me for the first time. You were different tonight. Quieter. Less performative. Is that a bad thing? I ask, my heart pounding. No, she says softly, her eyes holding mine. It's not. The car ride home is silent, but it's not uncomfortable. Her knee brushes mine again, and this time, I don't pull away. I don't know what this is, Lila's life, Evelyn's heart, or something new entirely, but for the first time since I woke up in this body, I feel like I might want to find out. The silence in the SUV lingers as we drive back to the penthouse, the city's lights streaking past like comets in the night. Cass's knee is still brushing mine, a point of contact that feels both accidental and deliberate, and I don't dare move, afraid to break whatever fragile thread is forming between us. Her face is turned toward the window, her profile sharp against the glow of passing streetlights, and I wonder what she's thinking about the dinner, about her in-laws, about me. Or rather, about Lila, the woman she thinks I am. The weight of that lie presses against my chest, heavy and unyielding, but there's no way to tell her the truth. Not yet. Maybe not ever. When we reach the penthouse, the driver opens the door, and Cass steps out first, offering me her hand. It's a small gesture, automatic, but her fingers are warm against mine, and I hold on a moment too long before letting go. She doesn't comment, just leads the way to the private elevator, her strides purposeful, like she's already mentally back at her desk, conquering the next crisis. I follow, my heels clicking on the marble floor, and try to match her confidence, to embody Lila's effortless grace. But inside, I'm still Evelyn, tripping over my own insecurities, wondering how long I can keep this up. The penthouse is quiet, the kind of quiet that feels alive, like the walls are holding their breath. Cass tosses her jacket over a chair and heads for the kitchen, pulling a bottle of red wine from a rack that looks like it belongs in a museum. Drink, she asks, already pouring 2 glasses without waiting for my answer. Sure, I say, settling onto a stool at the island, the navy dress pooling around me. The kitchen is sleek, all stainless steel and white marble, nothing like the cramped counter in my old apartment where I'd microwave ramen after a late shift. Cass hands me a glass, her fingers brushing mine again, and I swear she's doing it on purpose now, testing me. I take a sip, the wine rich and velvety, and try to focus on the taste instead of the way her eyes linger on me. You were a lifesaver tonight, she says, leaning against the counter, her glass dangling casually from her fingers. I thought your father was going to grill me until I cracked, but you kept him distracted. Her lips curve into a half-smile, and it's the closest thing to warmth I've seen from her all night. I just nodded and smiled, I say, shrugging, hoping it sounds like something Lila would say. You did the heavy lifting. She laughs, a low, throaty sound that makes my stomach flip. Don't sell yourself short. You were present. More than usual. Her eyes narrow slightly, like she's trying to solve a puzzle, and I feel a prickle of panic. Does she suspect something? Can she see through me, past Lila's polished exterior to the assistant who used to stammer in her presence? I take another sip of wine to buy time, then set the glass down, my fingers tracing the stem. Maybe I'm just trying to be a better wife, I say, the words slipping out before I can stop them. They hang in the air, bold and reckless, and I immediately regret them. What am I doing? Flirting with my boss? With her wife's body? Cass's expression shifts, surprise softening into something else, curiosity, maybe, or caution. A better wife, she repeats, her voice quiet. That's new. She steps closer, close enough that I can smell her perfume, something sharp and floral that makes my head spin. What's gotten into you, Lila? First you're up before noon, then you're charming your parents, and now you're, what, turning over a new leaf. Her tone is teasing, but there's an edge to it, a question she's not asking outright. I want to tell her everything about the accident, about waking up in this body, about the way my heart races when she's near, but I can't. Instead, I lean into the moment, letting Lila's confidence guide me. Maybe I'm just tired of being predictable, I say, meeting her gaze. Maybe I want to surprise you. Her eyes widen, just a fraction, and for a moment, we're locked in a silent standoff, the air between us charged with something I don't dare name. Then her phone buzzes on the counter, shattering the moment. She glances at it, her jaw tightening, and I catch a glimpse of the screen, an email from someone named Damien Cross, the subject line marked urgent, Q3 projections. Work. I ask, trying to keep my voice light, but I'm curious. Damien Cross is a name I've heard before, back when I was Evelyn, whispered in the office as the CEO of a rival firm, always nipping at Cass's heels. Always, she mutters, but she doesn't open the email. Instead, she sets her glass down and looks at me, really looks, like she's seeing me for the first time. You're different, Lila. I don't know what it is, but I like it. My heart stutters, and I'm not sure if it's her words or the way she's looking at me, like I'm more than just Lila Montgomery, more than the trophy wife I'm supposed to be. Good, I say softly, my voice barely above a whisper. Because I'm trying. She holds my gaze for a moment longer, then steps back, breaking the spell. Get some sleep, she says, her tone brisk again, like she's pulling her armor back on. We've got a long day tomorrow. Myra's coming by to go over the gala plans. Mira? I ask, hoping I sound casual. Mira Chin, Cass's COO and best friend, is a wild card I haven't prepared for. As Evelyn, I admired her from afar, sharp, loyal, and terrifyingly perceptive. If anyone's going to notice I'm not Lila, it's her. Cass nods, already heading toward her study. Yeah, try not to clash with her this time, okay? I don't have the energy for another one of your fights. She disappears down the hall, leaving me with my wine and a fresh wave of anxiety. Fights? Lila and Mira don't get along? I make a mental note to tread carefully, but my mind is still reeling from our moment, from the way Cass's eyes softened when she looked at me. I finish my wine and head to the bedroom, the navy dress swishing around my ankles. The closet looms as I change into a silk nightgown, and I can't resist exploring, hoping for a clue about Lila's life. I find a locked drawer tucked behind a row of handbags, and after a moment's hesitation, I grab a hairpin from the dresser and kneel to pick the lock, a skill I picked up in college when I kept losing my dorm keys. The drawer slides open, revealing a leather-bound journal, its pages worn and dog-eared. My heart pounds as I open it, recognizing Lila's elegant handwriting. The entries are sporadic, dated over the past year, and I skim the first few lines. Another gala, another night of pretending. Cass doesn't see me anymore, and I don't know how to make her. My chest tightens. Lila's words are raw, laced with a loneliness I didn't expect. I flip forward, landing on an entry from 6 months ago. I saw her laughing with Mira today, and it hurt more than it should. I don't know when we became strangers, but I miss her. I miss us. I close the journal, my hands trembling. Lila loved Cass, deeply, desperately, but something broke between them. And now I'm here, living her life, feeling her echoes in this body. I slip the journal back into the drawer and crawl into bed, the sheets cool against my skin. As I lie there, staring at the ceiling, I can't shake the image of Cass's half-smile, the way her fingers brushed mine. I'm not Lila, but I'm starting to feel things Lila felt, things Evelyn never dared to admit. And that scares me more than anything. The morning sun spills through the penthouse windows, painting the bedroom in shades of gold that feel too warm for the knot of anxiety in my stomach. I'm still reeling from Lila's journal, her words a haunting echo of a life I'm now living. I miss us. Those 3 words have lodged themselves in my mind, looping like a song I can't shake. I want to read more, to understand the woman whose body I'm inhabiting, but the day is already pressing in. Myra's coming over to discuss the gala, and Cass's warning about their rocky history hangs over me like a storm cloud. I need to be Lila today, not Evelyn, and definitely not some hybrid of the two who's still figuring out how to walk in these heels. I'm in the kitchen, nursing a coffee that's more cream than caffeine, when the doorbell chimes. My heart lurches. Mira. I smooth my hands over the tailored blouse and slacks I found in Lila's closet, hoping I look the part. The outfit is simple but expensive, the kind of effortless chic I used to envy from the other side of the office. I take a deep breath, channel Lila's confidence, and head to the door. Mira Chin is exactly as I remember her, sharp cheekbones, dark eyes that miss nothing, and a presence that fills the room like a tidal wave. She's in a crimson blazer and pencil skirt, her hair pulled into a sleek ponytail, and she's carrying a tablet that's probably worth more than my old car. Lila, she says, her tone neutral but her gaze piercing, like she's already cataloging every detail of me. You're up early. That's a first. I force a smile, hoping it's the right mix of Lila's charm and nonchalance. Trying something new, I say, stepping aside to let her in. Coffee? She raises an eyebrow, clearly surprised, but nods. Black. Thanks. I busy myself with the coffee machine, grateful for the excuse to turn away from her scrutiny. As Evelyn, I admired Myra's brilliance, her ability to command a room almost as effortlessly as Cass, but now, standing in Lila's skin, I feel like prey under her gaze. Cass joins us, striding in from her study with a stack of folders and a look of determination that's all too familiar. Morning, Mira, she says, her voice brisk but warm. Let's make this quick. The gala's in 3 days, and we can't afford any slip-ups. She glances at me, a flicker of something soft in her eyes, and I wonder if she's thinking about last night, about the way we almost crossed some invisible line. Mira sets her tablet on the dining table, pulling up a spreadsheet filled with color-coded tasks. The venue's secured, catering's on track, and the guest list is finalized, she says, her tone all business. But we need to talk about the keynote. Damian Cross is attending, and he's been sniffing around our new campaign. I don't trust him. Cass's jaw tightens, and I remember the email from last night, the one marked urgent. He's always sniffing, she says, her voice low. What's new? He's been talking to our sponsors, Mira says, tapping her tablet. One of them pulled out this morning, citing budget concerns. Sounds like his handiwork. I listen, my mind racing. As Evelyn, I'd overheard whispers about Damian Cross, ruthless, charming, always one step ahead. He's the kind of rival who doesn't just want to win, he wants to destroy. I want to ask questions, to dig into what this means for Cass, but I'm supposed to be Lila, and Lila wouldn't care about corporate games. Or would she? The journal suggested she cared about Cass deeply, even if their marriage was fraying. Lila, you're quiet, Mira says, her eyes narrowing as she turns to me. Usually you'd have something to say about the guest list. Or are you too busy planning your next Instagram post? The job stings, and I realize this is the tension Cass warned me about. Mira and Lila don't just clash, there's a history of resentment here, and I'm walking blind into it. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms, and try to channel Lila's poise. I'm just listening, I say, keeping my tone light. You and Cass seem to have everything under control. Mira blinks, clearly thrown, and even Cass looks at me, her brow furrowing slightly. Okay, Mira says slowly, like she's testing the waters. Well, we need you to charm the sponsors at the gala. You're good at that when you're not distracted. Distracted? I ask, unable to stop myself. I need to know what she means, what Lila's reputation is. Mira exchanges a glance with Cass, and I feel a prickle of unease. You know, Mira says, her voice careful. The parties, the shopping, the whatever it is you do when you're not here. Her tone isn't cruel, but it's pointed, and I realize Lila's life was more than just galas and designer dresses. There's a story here, one I need to uncover. Cass clears her throat, redirecting the conversation. Let's focus on the gala. Lila, you'll handle the sponsors. I'll deal with Damien. Her tone is final, but there's a tension in her shoulders that wasn't there before. I want to reach out, to tell her I'm here, but I don't know how. The meeting wraps up, and Mira leaves with a promise to send updated files. I'm alone with Cass again, the penthouse quiet except for the hum of the city below. She's still at the table, staring at her laptop, her fingers hovering over the keys like she's bracing for a fight. I hesitate, then sit across from her, the journal's words echoing in my mind. I miss us. Cass, I say softly, and she looks up, startled. Are you okay? This Damien thing. It sounds serious. She sighs, rubbing her temples. It's always serious with him. He's been after my throat for years, and now he's playing dirty. She pauses, her eyes searching mine. Why do you care? You never ask about work. My heart skips. I've slipped again, letting Evelyn's curiosity bleed through. I lean forward, choosing my words carefully. I care because it's stressing you out. I can see it. Anne, I want to help. Her expression softens, and for a moment, she's not the untouchable CEO, but the woman who brushed my earlobe last night tea, who asked me to smile for her. You want to help, she repeats, almost to herself. Then she leans closer, her voice low. Lila, what's going on with you? You're not yourself, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. My breath catches, and I'm torn between confessing everything and leaning into the lie. I choose something in between, something true. I'm trying to be better, I say, my voice trembling. For you. For us. Her eyes widen, and the air between us feels electric, like a storm about to break. She reaches out, her hand resting on mine, and the warmth of her touch sends a shiver through me. Us, she says, testing the word. I haven't heard you say that in a long time. I want to tell her it's not Lila speaking, not really, but the moment is too fragile, too precious. Instead, I turn my hand over, lacing my fingers with hers, and it feels like the most natural thing in the world. I mean it, I whisper. I want there to be an us. For a heartbeat, she doesn't move, doesn't breathe, and I think I've gone too far. Then she squeezes my hand, her thumb brushing over my knuckles, and it's the softest thing I've ever felt. Okay, she says, her voice barely audible. Let's try. The moment stretches, heavy with possibility, until her phone buzzes again, another email from Damien. She pulls her hand back, the spell broken, and I feel the loss like a physical ache. I need to deal with this, she says, her tone apologetic. But thank you, Lila. I nod, my heart pounding as she returns to her laptop. I slip away to the bedroom, the journal calling to me like a siren. I lock the door and pull it from the drawer, flipping to the next entry. Cass thinks I don't see her, but I do. I see the way she carries the world on her shoulders, and I hate that I can't carry it with her. I don't know how to fix this. The words blur as my eyes sting. Not just for Lila's pain, but for the woman in the next room, fighting battles I'm only beginning to understand. I'm not Lila, but I'm starting to love Cass the way she did, and that terrifies me more than any gala or corporate rival ever could. The gala is a glittering assault on the senses, a ballroom awash in crystal chandeliers, clinking champagne flutes, and the murmur of voices draped in wealth. I stand at the edge of the crowd, a glass of sparkling wine in my hand, the weight of Lila's emerald green gown clinging to my skin like a second identity. The dress is a masterpiece, its fabric catching the light with every movement, and I try to embody the confidence it demands. As Evelyn, I'd have been in the shadows, refilling drinks or fixing a typo in the program. As Lila, I'm center stage, expected to dazzle, and the pressure makes my pulse race. Cass is across the room, a vision in a tailored tuxedo that sharpens her already commanding presence. She's talking to a group of sponsors, her smile practiced but magnetic, and I can't help but watch her, the way her hands gesture with precision, the way her eyes scan the room like a general surveying a battlefield. She catches my gaze, and for a moment, the noise fades, leaving just the two of us. Her lips curve slightly, a private acknowledgement, and my heart stutters, remembering her hand on mine last night. Her quiet "let's try." "Lila, darling." A voice pulls me back, and I turn to find an older woman in a sequined gown, her smile as polished as the diamonds at her throat. I recognize her vaguely from Lila's social media, a sponsor, someone important. I plaster on a smile, channeling Lila's charm. "Mrs. Langley, so good to see you," I say, hoping I've got the name right. "How's the foundation doing?" Her eyes light up, and I spend the next 10 minutes nodding as she gushes about her charity work, slipping in compliments that feel natural, even if they're borrowed from Lila's playbook. It's easier than I expected, this role of socialite, like slipping into a dance I've watched 1,000 times. I move through the crowd, shaking hands, laughing at the right moments, and by the time I've charmed 3 more sponsors, I'm almost enjoying myself. Almost. Then I see him. Damian Cross. He's leaning against a pillar, a glass of whiskey in his hand, his dark suit impeccable and his smile sharp enough to cut. I know him from the office gossip, the rival CEO who's been a thorn in Cass's side for years. His eyes lock onto mine, and there's a glint of recognition, though I'm sure we've never met, not as Lila, anyway. He strides over, his movements smooth, predatory, and I brace myself. "Lila Montgomery," he says, his voice low and smooth, like he's savoring the words. "You're looking radiant tonight. Marriage to Cassandra clearly agrees with you." I force a smile, my skin prickling under his gaze. "Thank you, Damian. I hear you're making waves as always." It's a vague deflection, but it's all I've got. I don't know Lila's history with him, if there is one, and I can't afford to slip up. He chuckles, swirling his whiskey. "Waves are my specialty. Though I must say you seem different tonight. More engaged. Usually, you're halfway out the door by now." The comment lands like a dart, and I wonder how much of Lila's life was spent escaping rooms like this. I tilt my head, keeping my tone light. "Maybe I've decided to stick around for the fun. You should try it sometime, less scheming, more dancing." His smile widens, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "Oh, I dance when the music's right. Tell Cassandra I said hello. I'm sure we'll have plenty to discuss soon." He inclines his head and melts back into the crowd, leaving a chill in his wake. I don't know what he's planning, but the mention of Cass sets my nerves on edge. I'm still processing when Mira appears at my side, her expression unreadable. "You're doing well," she says, her tone clipped but not hostile. "The sponsors are eating it up. But watch out for Damian. He's not here to play nice." "I noticed," I say, glancing at her. "What's his deal with Cass?" Myra's eyes narrow, studying me. "Since when do you care about Cass's rivals? You usually tune out when work comes up." Her suspicion is palpable, and I curse myself for asking. I need to be more careful, but Myra's too sharp, too close to Cass to let anything slide. "Just curious," I say, shrugging. "He seems like trouble." "He is," Mira says flatly, then softens slightly. "Look, Lila, I don't know what's going on with you, but you're different lately. Less distant." Cass notices it too. My heart skips, but before I can respond, the music shifts to a slow, lilting waltz and the crowd parts as couples take to the dance floor. I spot Cass across the room, her eyes finding mine again, and this time, she doesn't look away. She excuses herself from the sponsors and strides toward me, her presence cutting through the noise like a blade. "Dance with me," she says, not a question, but not quite a command, her hand extended. There's a vulnerability in her eyes, a crack in her usual armor, and I can't say no, even if I wanted to. I take her hand, her fingers warm and steady, and she leads me to the floor. The music wraps around us, soft and insistent, and as she pulls me close, one hand on my waist, the other clasping mine, I forget the crowd, forget Damien, forget everything but her. Her breath is warm against my cheek, her body a solid anchor as we move together. The steps surprisingly easy to follow, like Lila's body knows this dance even if I don't. "You're good at this," she murmurs, her voice low, her lips close to my ear. I forgot how well we fit. My throat tightens, and I wonder if she's talking to Lila or to me, to this new version of her wife who's trying so hard to be enough. "I'm trying to remember," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. "To be here with you." Her hand tightens on my waist, and for a moment, we're not just dancing, we're suspended. Two people caught in a moment that feels too big, too real. I want to tell her everything, to confess that I'm not Lila, that I'm Evelyn, the assistant who loved her from afar, but the words stick in my throat. Instead, I lean closer, my cheek brushing hers, and she doesn't pull away. The song ends, but we don't let go, not immediately. Her eyes search mine, and there's a question there, one she's not ready to ask. "Lila," she says softly, "whatever this is, don't stop." I nod, my heart pounding, and the moment stretches until a server interrupts, handing Cass a note. Her face darkens as she reads it, and I catch a glimpse of the words, *cross. Meeting. Tomorrow, *. She tucks the note away, her jaw tight, and I know the night's magic is over. Back at the penthouse, I slip into the bedroom while Cass takes a call, her voice sharp and clipped through the study door. The journal is still in its hiding place, and I pull it out, needing to understand more about the woman I'm replacing. I flip to a newer entry, dated 3 months ago. *. I saw Cass cry today, in her office, when she thought no one was there. I wanted to hold her, to tell her she doesn't have to be so strong, but I didn't. I'm too afraid of what she'd say, of what I'd see in her eyes. I don't know how to reach her anymore, and it's killing me. *. The words hit like a punch, and I closed the journal, my eyes stinging. Lila loved Cass so fiercely, but something kept them apart, something I'm only beginning to glimpse. As I lie in bed, the memory of our dance lingers, Cass's hand on my waist, her breath against my cheek. I'm not Lila, but I'm falling for her, and I don't know if that's a betrayal or a second chance. The morning after the gala feels like waking from a dream, the memory of Cass's hand on my waist lingering like a melody I can't shake. I'm still in bed, the silk sheets cool against my skin, when I hear her moving in the next room, her voice sharp and clipped as she speaks into her phone. The note from last night, *. Meeting. Tomorrow * looms in my mind, and I know today is going to be a battle. Damien Cross isn't just a rival. He's a predator, and Cass is his target. I can't sit this one out, not when I know things from my days as Evelyn, the assistant who overheard whispers of his tactics in the office break room. I slip into a tailored blazer and skirt from Lila's closet, the kind of outfit that screams power, and find Cass in her study, surrounded by papers and a laptop screen glowing with spreadsheets. She looks up, surprised, her blue eyes narrowing slightly. "You're up early again," she says, her tone cautious, but not unkind. "What's the occasion?" "I'm coming with you," I say, the words tumbling out before I can second-guess them. "To the meeting with Damien." Her brow arches, and she leans back in her chair, folding her arms. "Since when do you want to sit in on my meetings? You hate this stuff." There's a challenge in her voice, but also curiosity, and I realize I'm treading dangerous ground. Lila wouldn't care about corporate rivalries, but Evelyn does, and I need to bridge that gap without breaking the illusion. I sit across from her, meeting her gaze. "I know I haven't been involved before," I say, choosing my words carefully. "But last night, I saw how much this is weighing on you. I want to be there. For you. It's the truth, or close enough, and I hope it's enough to convince her." Cass studies me for a long moment, her expression unreadable, then nods. Fine. But don't say I didn't warn you. Damien's a snake, and this isn't going to be pleasant. She stands, grabbing her briefcase, and I feel a surge of relief mixed with dread. I'm stepping into a world I know from the sidelines, but as Lila, I'm expected to be ornamental, not strategic. I just hope I can keep up. The meeting is at a sleek conference room downtown, all glass walls and polished wood, the kind of place where power plays are made over espresso. Damien is already there when we arrive, lounging in a chair like he owns the room, his dark eyes glinting with amusement. Myra's there too, her tablet at the ready, and she gives me a pointed look as I take a seat beside Cass. I can tell she's still suspicious, still trying to figure out why Lila is suddenly so invested. Cassandra, Damien says, his voice smooth as silk. And Lila, what a surprise. I didn't realize this was a family affair. His smile is sharp, and I feel Cass tense beside me, her hand gripping the edge of the table. Let's skip the pleasantries, Cass says, her tone ice cold. You wanted to talk about Q3 projections. So talk. Damien leans forward, sliding a folder across the table. I've been hearing rumors about your new campaign. Bold, risky. Some might say reckless. He glances at me, as if expecting a reaction, but I keep my face neutral, channeling Lila's poise. One of your sponsors pulled out, and I'm hearing others are getting nervous. I'm offering a partnership, merge our campaigns, share the risk. We both win. Cass laughs, a short, bitter sound. You mean you win? I know your game, Damien. You're not here to partner, you're here to poach. I listen, my mind racing. As Evelyn, I once overheard a junior exec mention Damien's habit of planting moles in rival firms, leaking just enough to destabilize them. I don't know if that's what's happening now, but the way he's smirking makes my skin crawl. I lean forward, surprising myself. If your offer's so generous, Damien, why are you meeting us here instead of at your office? Afraid we'd see something you don't want us to. The room goes quiet. Cass's head snaps toward me, her eyes wide, and Myra's mouth twitches, like she's fighting a smile. Damien's smirk falters, just for a second, before he recovers. Sharp as ever, Lila, he says, but there's an edge to his voice now. I'm just being discreet. For everyone's sake. Cass takes over, dismantling his proposal with surgical precision, but I can feel her glancing at me, reassessing. When the meeting ends, Damien leaves with a parting shot about reconsidering his offer, and Mira excuses herself to take a call, leaving me alone with Cass in the conference room. What was that? Cass asks, turning to me, her voice a mix of suspicion and admiration. Since when do you call out people like Damien Cross? I shrug, my heart pounding. I just didn't like his attitude. He's trying to undermine you, and I'm not okay with that. It's true, but it's also Evelyn talking, the assistant who's spent years watching Cass fight battles alone. She steps closer, her eyes searching mine, and I feel that familiar pull, like gravity drawing me in. You keep surprising me, she says softly. I don't know what's changed, but I'm glad you were here. My throat tightens, and I want to tell her everything about the accident, about waking up as Lila, about the way my heart aches when she looks at me like this. But instead, I reach out, touching her arm, the fabric of her blazer soft under my fingers. I'm here now, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. And I'm not going anywhere. For a moment, we're frozen, her breath catching as her hand covers mine, her touch warm and grounding. Lila, she murmurs, and there's so much in that word, hope, doubt, longing, that I almost break. Then her phone buzzes, and she pulls back, the moment slipping away like sand through my fingers. I need to get back to the office, she says, her voice regretful. But we'll talk later. Okay. I nod, my chest aching, and watch her go, her shoulders squared like she's carrying the world again. Back at the penthouse, I retreat to the bedroom, the journal calling to me like a beacon. I pull it from the drawer, my hands trembling as I open to a new entry. Dated a year ago. Asterisk, I messed up tonight. We fought. Worse than usual. I told Cass I felt like her trophy, not her wife, and she said I was the one pushing her away. She's right, but I'm too scared to let her in, to tell her how much I need her. I saw the hurt in her eyes, and I hate myself for it. I don't know how to fix this, but I can't lose her. Asterisk. The words cut deep, and I closed the journal, tears prickling my eyes. Lila and Cass were breaking, not because they didn't love each other, but because they couldn't bridge the gap between them. I'm not Lila, but I feel her pain, her love, and it's tangled with my own, with the way I've always admired Cass even when I was invisible. I don't know if I'm here to fix their marriage or to start something new, but as I lie in bed, the memory of Cass's hand on mine burning in my mind, I know I'm willing to try. For her, for Lila, for me. The city hums outside the penthouse windows, a restless pulse that mirrors the tension coiling in my chest. It's been 2 days since the meeting with Damien Cross, and his shadow looms larger than ever. This morning, a headline hit the business feeds like a grenade. Asterisk Vanderbilt and Company faces sponsor backlash over risky campaign strategy star. The article, laced with insinuations of mismanagement, quotes an anonymous source and points fingers squarely at Cass. I know it's Damien's doing. His fingerprints are all over the calculated wording, the way it undermines her without proof. As Evelyn, I'd have been in the office, watching the fallout from the sidelines, but as Lila, I'm in the eye of the storm, and I can't stay silent. Cass is in her study, pacing like a caged animal, her phone pressed to her ear as she argues with Mira. It's a hit piece, Mira, and we both know who's behind it, she snaps, her voice sharp, but fraying at the edges. Get the PR team on it. I want a response drafted by noon. She hangs up, tossing the phone onto her desk with a force that makes me flinch, and runs a hand through her hair, her composure cracking. I hover in the doorway, my heart aching at the sight of her. She's always been untouchable, the CEO who could stare down any crisis, but now she looks human, vulnerable, and it pulls at something deep inside me. Cass, I say softly, stepping into the room. What can I do? She looks up, startled, her blue eyes clouded with exhaustion. Lila, this isn't your problem, she says, but there's no bite in her words, just weariness. Go, do whatever you do. I'll handle it. No, I say, surprising myself with the firmness in my voice. I cross the room, standing close enough to feel the heat radiating from her. I'm not going anywhere. This is our fight, not just yours. The words feel bold, reckless, but they're true. I'm not just Lila playing a role. I'm Evelyn, who's seen Cass's brilliance up close, who knows she doesn't deserve this. Her eyes search mine, and for a moment, I think she's going to push me away, to retreat behind her walls. Then she sighs, her shoulders slumping. He's trying to break me, she says, her voice low. Damien. He's been waiting for a chance to turn the sponsors against me, and now he's got it. If we lose more funding, the campaign's dead. I think back to my days as an assistant, to the late nights poring over reports, catching snippets of office gossip about Damien's tactics. He's bluffing, I say, the words slipping out before I can stop them. He's always done this, leaks just enough to scare people, but he never shows his full hand. You need to call his bluff, Cass. Push back with something bigger. She stares at me, her brow furrowing. How do you know that? Her tone isn't accusing, but it's sharp, and I realize I've let too much of Evelyn slip through. Lila wouldn't know Damien's playbook, but Evelyn, who overheard execs whispering about his past moves, does. I scramble for an answer, my pulse racing. I hear things, I say, keeping my voice steady. At events, from sponsors. People talk, Cass, and I listen. It's a weak excuse, but she doesn't press, just nods slowly, like she's seeing me in a new light. Okay, she says finally. Let's say you're right. What's bigger than his smear campaign? I hesitate, then dive in, drawing on every scrap of knowledge I have from my old life. Go public. hold a press conference, lay out the campaign's vision, and call out the rumors as sabotage. Show the sponsors you're not scared. It'll force Damien to back off or overplay his hand. It's a gamble, but I've seen Cass pull off bolder moves, and I believe in her. She leans against the desk, considering, and then a small smile breaks through, the first I've seen all day. "You're full of surprises, Lila," she says, and there's warmth in her voice, a spark that makes my chest tighten. "I'll talk to Mira. If we're doing this, we need to move fast." The day passes in a blur of phone calls and strategy sessions, with Mira and the PR team drafting a response. I stay close, offering input when asked, careful not to overstep. By evening, Cass is calmer, her focus razor sharp, and I'm exhausted but exhilarated, like I'm finally part of her world, not just watching from the outside. After Mira leaves, Cass pours us both a glass of whiskey, the amber liquid catching the light as she hands me one. "To surviving another day," she says, raising her glass, and I clink mine against hers, the sound sharp in the quiet penthouse. "To fighting back," I say, and she smiles again, softer this time, her eyes lingering on me. We sit on the couch, the city skyline glittering beyond the windows, and the silence between us feels heavy, charged with everything we're not saying. "Lila," she says after a long moment, her voice low, almost hesitant. "I don't know what's changed with you, but I'm scared to trust it. Every time I think we're okay, something pulls us apart." Her words hit like a knife, and I think of Lila's journal, of the fight she wrote about, the one where she called herself a trophy and Cass accused her of pushing her away. I set my glass down, turning to face her, my heart pounding. "I'm not pulling away," I say, my voice trembling with the weight of the truth I can't fully tell. "I'm right here, Cass, and I want us, to work." She looks at me, her eyes raw, unguarded, and I see the fear she's been carrying, the weight of a marriage that's been fracturing for years. "I want that too," she whispers, and then she's leaning closer, her hand brushing my cheek, her touch so gentle it steals my breath. For a moment, I think she's going to kiss me, and I want her to, more than I've ever wanted anything. But she pulls back, her hand dropping, and the moment slips away. "I need time," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "But don't give up on me, okay?" "I won't, I promise," and it feels like a vow, one I'm making for both Lila and myself. She heads to bed, leaving me with my whiskey and a racing heart. I wait until the penthouse is quiet, then slip into the bedroom, pulling the journal from its hiding place. I need answers, something to make sense of the ache in my chest. I open to a new entry, dated 8 months ago. Asterisk mother called today, told me again that Cass isn't right for me, that I'm wasting my potential. I wanted to scream that I love her, that she's everything, but I didn't. I just hung up, and when Cass asked what was wrong, I lied. I always lie. She deserves better than me, but I'm too selfish to let her go. Asterisk. The words burn, and I close the journal, my eyes stinging. Lila's family didn't just disapprove of Cass, they were a wedge, driving her to hide her love, her fears. I'm not Lila, but I feel her guilt, her longing, and it's tangled with my own, with the way I'm falling for Cass, step by reckless step. As I lie in bed, the memory of her touch on my cheek lingering, I know I'm in deeper than I ever meant to be, and there's no turning back. The press conference is a high-wire act, a room packed with reporters, flashing cameras, and the weight of 1,000 expectations. I stand backstage at Vanderbilt and Company's sleek headquarters, my palms sweaty in the cream-colored sheath dress I chose from Lila's closet, its elegance a shield against the chaos. Cass is at the podium, her voice steady as she outlines the campaign's vision, dismantling Damien's smear with the precision of a surgeon. She's magnetic, her blue eyes fierce under the lights, and I can't look away, even as my heart pounds with the role I'm about to play. I wasn't supposed to speak today, just stand by her side, the perfect wife, but when Mira suggested I say a few words to charm the crowd, I couldn't say no. Not when Cass needs me. Myra's beside me, her tablet glowing with talking points, and she's watching me with that same wary curiosity she's had since I started acting different. You ready for this, Lila? She asks, her tone neutral but her eyes sharp. No offense, but public speaking's never been your thing. I force a smile, channeling Lila's confidence. I'm full of surprises lately, I say, and she raises an eyebrow but doesn't push. I've memorized the key points, highlight the campaign's innovation, reassure the sponsors, project strength, but I'm leaning on Evelyn's instincts, the assistant who watched Cass navigate crises and learned her rhythms. I just hope I don't trip over Lila's heels. Cass finishes her speech, and the room erupts in questions, reporters probing for weaknesses. She handles them with ease, but I can see the strain in her jaw, the way her fingers grip the podium. Then she turns, gesturing to me. My wife, Lila, has been a vital part of this campaign's vision, she says, her voice warm but professional. She'd like to share a few words. The crowd quiets, and I step forward, my heart hammering as I take the microphone. The lights are blinding, but I focus on Cass, on the flicker of trust in her eyes. Thank you, Cassandra, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Vanderbilt and Company isn't just a company, it's a legacy of innovation, and this campaign is no exception. The rumors you've heard are just that, rumors, spread by those who fear our success. Our sponsors know the truth. We're building something groundbreaking, and we're doing it together. The words flow, drawing on everything I learned as Evelyn, watching Cass pitch to clients, and the room responds, murmurs turning to nods. I glance at Cass, and her expression is unreadable, but there's a spark in her eyes, like she's seeing me anew. When I step back, the applause is polite but warm, and Mira gives me a look that's half approval, half suspicion. Backstage, Cass grabs my arm, pulling me aside as the reporters disperse. Where did that come from? She asks, her voice low, a mix of awe and curiosity. You were incredible. I shrug, my cheeks flushing. I just said what I know is true. You're brilliant, Cass, and they needed to hear it. It's too much, too close to Evelyn's admiration, but she doesn't question it, just holds my gaze, her hand still on my arm. Mira interrupts, her tablet buzzing with notifications. Cass, we've got a problem, she says, her face grim. Someone leaked internal emails about the campaign budget. It's all over the feeds, and it looks bad, like we're hiding losses. Damien's behind this. I'd bet my life on it. Cass's face hardens, and I feel a surge of anger, not just for her, but for the life we're trying to build. He's trying to scare the sponsors again, I say, the words slipping out. He's planting doubts, hoping they'll pull out before we can stabilize things. Cass and Mira both turn to me, and I realize I've gone too far, spoken with too much insight. How do you know that? Mira asks, her eyes narrowing. You've been awfully invested in this, Lila. What's going on? My pulse races, and I scramble for an answer. I just see how hard Cass is working, I say, looking at her, hoping she'll back me up. I'm not blind, Mira. I know what's at stake. Cass nods, her expression softening. She's right, Mira. Let's focus on damage control. Get the team to trace the leak. I want to know who's talking to Damien. Mira hesitates, then nods, leaving us alone in the hallway. Cass turns to me, her eyes searching. You keep doing this, she says softly. Stepping up, knowing things you shouldn't. I don't know what to make of it, Lila. I want to confess, to tell her I'm not Lila, that I'm Evelyn, the assistant who loved her from afar, but the words choke me. Instead, I step closer, my hand brushing hers. I'm just trying to be here for you, I say, my voice trembling. Is that enough? She doesn't answer, just takes my hand, her fingers lacing with mine, and the touch sends a shiver through me. It's more than enough, she whispers, and we're so close now, her breath warm against my lips, that I think this is it, the moment we cross the line. But her phone buzzes, and she pulls back, cursing under her breath as she checks it. I have to deal with this, she says, her voice thick with regret. But we're not done here. I nod, my heart pounding as she walks away, her shoulders squared against the storm. Back at the penthouse, I collapse onto the bed, the weight of the day pressing down on me. The journal is still in its drawer, a silent promise of answers, and I pull it out, needing to understand the woman whose life I'm living. I flip to a new entry, dated 6 months ago. Asterisk mother invited us to the estate tonight, and I knew what was coming. She cornered me, told me Cass was holding me back, that I could do better with someone worthy of the Montgomery name. I didn't defend her, didn't fight back. I just stood there, silent, and when we got home, Cass knew something was wrong. She asked, and I lied again, said it was nothing. But it's everything. I'm breaking us, and I don't know how to stop. Asterisk. The words sting, and I close the journal, my chest tight. Lila's family didn't just disapprove of Cass, they were a constant pressure, undermining her love, her confidence. I'm not Lila, but I feel her shame, her fear, and it's tangled with my own longing. The way I almost kissed Cass today, the way I'm falling deeper every moment I'm with her. As I lie in bed, the city humming outside, I know I'm walking a dangerous line, loving a woman who thinks I'm someone else, and I don't know how much longer I can keep the truth from her. Rain slicks the Manhattan streets, the neon glow of the city smearing into a kaleidoscope of color as Cass, and I speed toward a nondescript bar in Hell's Kitchen. The call came an hour ago. Myra's IT team confirmed Ryan Kessler as the mole, his laptop brimming with encrypted emails sent to a server linked to Damien Cross. Cass didn't hesitate, her face a mask of controlled fury as she demanded we confront him tonight, before he can do more damage. I'm in the passenger seat of her sleek black coupe, my heart pounding not just from the impending showdown, but from the memory of her lips brushing mine last night, the heat of her touch still burning under my skin. I'm wearing Lila's leather jacket and jeans, a departure from her usual polished dresses, and it feels like armor, grounding me in this body that's both mine and not mine. Cass's hands grip the wheel, her knuckles white, and I steal a glance at her profile, sharp and fierce against the rain-streaked window. You don't have to do this, she says, her voice tight. Ryan's my mess. I should have seen it sooner. I'm not letting you face him alone, I say, my tone sharper than I intend. We're in this together, Cass. The words carry a weight beyond the mole, a promise I'm making to her, to Lila, to myself. She glances at me, her blue eyes flickering with something raw, trust, maybe, or something deeper, and I feel that familiar pull, a heat that makes my breath catch. The bar is a dive, all dim lights and sticky floors, the kind of place where secrets are traded over cheap whiskey. Ryan's at a corner booth, hunched over a beer, his face pale when he sees us. Cass slides in across from him, her presence commanding, while I stand at her side, my arms crossed, channeling Lila's poise, but fueled by Evelyn's resolve. Ryan, Cass says, her voice low and dangerous, you've got one chance to explain why you sold me out to Damien Cross. He flinches, his eyes darting between us, and I notice the sweat beading on his forehead. I don't know what you're talking about, he stammers, but his hands are shaking, betraying him. Don't lie, I snap, surprising myself. We traced the emails, Ryan. They came from your account, sent to Damien's server. You leaked the budget, and now the sponsors are spooked. Why? My voice is steady, but inside, I'm reeling. Evelyn, the assistant who knew Ryan's ambition, is driving this, and I hope Cass doesn't notice the slip. Cass leans forward, her gaze cutting. You wanted a promotion? Money? Or did Damien just stroke your ego enough to make you forget loyalty? Ryan's face crumples, and he slumps in the booth. He promised me a VP spot at his firm, he mutters, barely audible. Said you'd never see my potential. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Cass's jaw tightens, but her voice stays calm, lethal. You're done at Vanderbilt and Company. Security's already clearing your desk. And if I find out you've leaked anything else, I'll make sure you never work in this city again. She stands, her presence towering, and I follow, my heart racing with admiration and something hotter, more urgent. Outside, the rain has slowed to a drizzle, the air sharp with the scent of wet pavement and city grit. Cass stops under a streetlight, her breath visible in the cool night, and I can't hold back anymore. I grab her hand, pulling her into the shadow of a closed storefront, the world narrowing to just us. You were incredible, I say, my voice low, trembling with the intensity of the moment. You're always incredible. Her eyes darken, a storm of desire and conflict, and she steps closer, her body inches from mine. Lila, she murmurs, her voice husky, you're driving me insane. Showing up like this, fighting for me. I don't know how to handle it. Her hand slides to my waist, her fingers digging into the leather, and the heat of her touch sends a shiver through me, igniting every nerve. Then don't handle it, I whisper, reckless, my hands finding her face, tracing the sharp line of her jaw. Just feel it. I pull her in, and this time, there's no hesitation. Her lips crash against mine, hot and demanding, a kiss that's all fire and need. Her body presses against me, pinning me to the wall, and I melt into her, my fingers tangling in her hair, the rain a soft curtain around us. She tastes like whiskey and longing, her hands roaming my sides, slipping under the jacket, and I gasp into her mouth, my body arching toward her, craving more. It's not just a kiss, it's a claiming, a collision of everything we've been holding back, and I never want it to end. But it does, too soon, when a car horn blares nearby, shattering the moment. She pulls back, her breath ragged, her eyes wide with something like fear. Lila, she says, her voice rough, we need to talk about this. I nod, my lips tingling, my body still humming with want. We will, I say, but inside, I'm spiraling, Evelyn's heart, Lila's body, and the secret I'm still keeping. I kissed her as both, and the guilt is a knife, sharp and cold. Back at the penthouse, Cass retreats to her study, promising we'll talk tomorrow, and I'm left with the ache of her absence. The journal waits in the bedroom, a silent wait, and I pull it out, needing to understand the woman whose life I'm unraveling. I flip to a new entry, dated 3 months ago. I packed a bag tonight, stood in the closet, and stared at it, ready to leave. Mother's voice was in my head, telling me Cass would never love me the way I need, that I'm a burden. I wanted to prove her wrong, to fight for us, but when Cass came home, I hid the bag and smiled like nothing was wrong. I'm a coward, and I'm losing her, and I don't know how to stop it, asterisk. The words hit like a punch, and I closed the journal, my eyes burning. Lila was ready to walk away, crushed by her family's disapproval and her own fears, but she stayed, trapped by love. I'm not her, but I'm living her life, kissing her wife, and the line between us is blurring. As I lie in bed, the memory of Cass's lips on mine, her hands on my skin, I know I'm in too deep, loving her with a desperation that's both mine and Lila's, and the truth is a storm I can't outrun much longer. And that was just part 1. A new body, a new life, and feelings she can't explain. If you're as curious as she is, you won't want to miss what comes next. Part 2 is on the way. Thank you for watching another story from Lesbian Diaries. If it made your heart race, your thoughts wander, or left you wanting more, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on part 2. I've got more secrets, love, and passion coming your way. Until next time.